Hi there, it's Christy here. I wanted to share with you today about an email I received last week. I received lots and lots of different emails all around grief and death, and this one was one that I responded to, and I thought the answer might be relevant for some other people out there too, so I thought I would share with you. So I received an email from a woman, let's call this woman Jane. Jane was not her name, but let's go with that. And here was Jane's predicament. Jane had a friend of hers who had had a bereavement, had a death in her life, and had really struggled. And so Jane had done her best to be what we often are told is a very good friend. She was there for her friend night and day. She dropped everything to be there and supported her friend. And often you'll read, when someone's had a bereavement, this is, the ideal, this person that will just do whatever for you and be there for you and understand what you're going through and really put you first. So Jane did that. She put everything in her own life aside for her friend. And Jane ended up unwell. She gave and gave and gave and gave in an attempt to support her friend to such a degree that she ended up sick. She ended up in bed for days, physically, emotionally, mentally just wiped out, completely wiped out from the effort she had put in. And the reason Jane wrote to me is that she was, after all this had happened, it wasn't even that part that had bothered her. After all this had happened, when her friend started to feel a bit better and get a little bit back into normal life, the friend never thanked Jane for what she'd done. The friend never came and really honoured or appreciated or showed gratitude or recognition for all Jane had done for her. And Jane, as you can imagine, was very hurt, very disappointed, upset, probably angry, and potentially even felt unloved by this friend, especially given that she had put in so much effort and energy with this friend to the point of her own obvious physical detriment, days in bed. And so Jane wrote to me, because she felt so upset about not getting a thank you. And I'm not going to get into should the friend say thank you, not say thank you. Around death, nobody, including us, most of the time does what we think they should, what we're told they should. But that's not the bit that was of interest to me. The bit that was of interest to me was how Jane got herself to a point where she'd attempted to give so much to someone else that she had made herself sick. And this to me is just a classic case of overgiving. I mean, serious overgiving. We are so, and I've just mentioned this before about we have this idea of what real friends, this idea of real friends will do everything for you. The people who will do everything for you, the people who will say yes when you need something, who will be there every second when you need support, are often the people who are sacrificing themselves like Jane did. And I've got other friends that I love who I see this in. Somebody will ask them for something, someone will ask them to do something, someone will ask them for a ride, someone will go through a breakup, someone will go through a bereavement, someone will go through stress at work, and they will drop everything to be there. And it just seems like the perfect friend. The only problem is this perfect friend is overgiving, completely sacrificing themselves. There is nothing left for them. They can end up very tired. They have no energy. They have no energy for the other things in their life that matter to them. They have no energy for other people in their lives, their own family, their other friends, because they're so readily there every time they're called on. And it's the gift in this, the lesson is this, because I think everything in life has a lesson. If you wish to look for it, everything in life has a gift. Again, if you wish to look for it, you will always find them. And I thought that potentially the gift in Jane's situation, if she chose to take a gift from it, is that this was a real lesson in the detriment of her not putting herself first. Because very clearly she put herself very far behind this friend and ended up feeling upset and hurt and bitter for what she had done to herself. Take responsibility for your own energy. Take responsibility for your own limits and boundaries, because it is not up to other people to police our boundaries. It's not up to other people. We as adults, We are the ones that know our limits. Now, limits are slightly different. My limits could be slightly different to yours, slightly different to the next person. So another friend of Jane's perhaps could have given almost as much as she did to this other friend with not at their own expense. Somebody else may have been able to give a lot less before it became an issue. Everybody's boundaries, everybody's limits are a little bit different. And it's really important that you're able to say yes and that you're able to say no. Because there is always someone who will need something from you. There is always someone else you can be supporting. And if you don't take care of your own energy, how can you be angry at someone else who's taken your energy when you've just kept giving it to them freely? No one can take anything from you that you do not give in a situation like this. If that friend was taking her time and her energy and her spirit, it's because Jane was just giving and giving and giving and giving it. So if you have other people in your life, if you have other interests in your life, if you have a mission, if there is something that you feel like you're here to do, then you need some of your own time and some of your own energy for that. And if you can't know your own boundaries and limits, how on earth can anybody else know? And why should it be up to them? That's the thing to realize. If you can't take responsibility for your own limits, if you can't say yes and no, if you can't draw a line and say, okay, now I need to step back, or no, I can't do that, or no, I can't do this particular thing for you or help you at this time, why on earth should anybody else be having to worry about that for you? So that was what I really heard so loud and clear in Jane's message, that she had just overgiven, she had sacrificed herself, she hadn't valued herself and put herself first. And another way to think of it, it's not selfish to say no, because actually when you're trying to give to someone and you're almost depleted yourself, really, how much use are you? How well can you really give to someone else when you have nothing left? How well can you really look after someone when you can't even look after yourself? You cannot give what you do not have. The point where Jane had completely run out of everything, she couldn't give to herself, she couldn't give to anybody. So you owe it to yourself, and you owe it to those that matter to you, and you owe it to the world to know your own limits, to say yes when you mean it, to say no when you mean it and when you need to, and to take care of your own energy and to take responsibility as an adult for your own energy and expenditure, for making sure that you have enough left for you. To use myself as the example, if I did that, if I was that person, if I gave to everybody that asked of me, if I spent hours writing back to every email I got, if I said yes to everything I'm asked to do, I would have nothing left for you. I would have nothing left for me, and if I have nothing left for me, I'd have nothing left for you. I'd have nothing left for the people that look to my words for guidance. I'd have nothing left for my clients who come to me to work with them. So just like in my situation, you owe it to yourself, you owe it to the world to look after yourself, to protect yourself, to make sure you have enough love and energy for yourself, and don't go just giving it all away, because you're not helping anybody that way. So what I'd love for you to take from this is, if that sounds familiar, and it may do to some degree. It's rare to meet somebody who doesn't have a little bit of overgiving happening some area in their life. Have a think about that. Think about your own boundaries and be brave enough to say no sometimes. If it's not something you're in the habit of doing, then it's going to take some time. It's going to take some practice. But next time, before you say yes, before you're there every moment of the day, stop and ask yourself, is this okay for me? And be prepared to say no sometimes. Even if that's just sometimes you're able to do it, and then over time you build up the ability to do it a little bit more. But that is what I'd love for you to take away from this. And if you have any thoughts, if this resonates with you, and especially if you'd like to comment on what you're going to do about this in yourself, because that's what it comes down to. What changes are you going to make? Then absolutely just add your comments below. I'd love to hear what you think. All right, so I look forward to seeing you sometime soon. Bye.